quite a bit of ground to cover as usual. So let's get into it. So guys, we've touched base on QuickTime or managing clips in QuickTime before, but not in the detail that I want to take it into today. And this is plainly, you know, everything boils down to the why. This is plainly for, I've picked up that, you know, when people have an iPhone, an iPad, and a Mac, or specifically an iPhone and a Mac, you tend to make so many video clips, you know, especially if you're going on holiday and or you're traveling a lot, then you would make a lot of video clips. And QuickTime is actually a good resource to do like basic editing, but also combining clips together. So we're gonna look at that. So let me quickly share my screen with you guys. So here you can see I've got my photos library open already. So I'm actually gonna go straight into my videos within my library where all of my videos are sitting. The cool thing about the new photos library, if you go to any video, you can see the preview of it, right? You can even go into edit with specific applications and so on. Now, the one thing you can do as well when it comes to videos is you can combine multiple clips together. First thing I would do is when it comes to using your videos in QuickTime, I'll first export the clips out that I want to use. Right, so I'm going to select my clips quickly. Now, as I'm selecting these clips, guys, just a quick heads up. If you are using iCloud Photos Library, then you would notice that sometimes when you're downloading these clips, it might take a while because it's still downloading the actual file from your iCloud. So don't worry about that if it takes a while, okay? So now I'm just going to go to File and Export. I'm going to go with unmodified originals, right? And just export. And these are my Polish clips. So I'm going to do it to my desktop. And sorry, it was clips that I took when I was in Poland. So now I'm just going to call this folder, I'm going to call it Poland. Okay. And I'm going to export originals. Now it's sitting on my desktop, as you can see, right? And it's now busy uploading to my iCloud. Don't worry about that. But there's all the clips that I have, right? Now I'm gonna start playing it straight in QuickTime. So now if I go to any clip, I always recommend to my clients whenever they do this to actually start off with my with a clip that you've taken in landscape, guys. Don't start with a clip that you've taken in portrait, because what it does is it will actually do all of the clips and it will adjust it to portrait. So I'll start off with my clip that is in landscape view, as you can see by the icon, right? Those three is in landscape and these two is in portrait. So I'll double click on that one to open it. And as you can see there, it opens in my QuickTime. Now, a couple of things you can do in terms of the play buttons and so on, right? I can, as you can see, there's my timeline. So I can hit my space bar to start playing it. And this is at the Wawel Castle in Krakow. So I can play it like that, or I can even use the fast forward and the rewind buttons. Now, fast forward is just going to keep my mouse pointer on my timeline. If I hit the L button, you will see that it's going ×2, ×5, ×10, ×30. So I can use the L button and I can use the J button to do the rewind as well. Okay, I can use the K button to do this, the pause and play, but I prefer to use the space bar for that purpose. Okay, so those are the rewind and fast forward buttons. Now, what I can do with this is I can go further and I can trim this clip. So now if I want to trim it, I can go to my edit button and I can go to trim. Now, if I click on trim, it will come up um, with these handles on either side, right? And I can click and drag these handles to start the trimming process. However, I can also set the in point and the out point as well, right? So say for instance, I'm now playing my clip and I'm gonna fast forward it a bit, say till there. Now just hit the space bar to pause it. Now I wanna set my in point, right? Now for in point is basically my handle is gonna move to where my playhead is, right? Which is there. So all I do is I just hit the I for my in point. So you'll see that there's my um, handle is gonna move to that point there because that's what I wanna trim. So now if I play further and I'm just gonna fast forward it, right? Maybe till say till there. I'm just gonna move I can also move my player, guys. So I'm gonna say till there. And then I can hit the O for my out point, and that will move my handle, which is at the end, to my out point, and that's basically what I want to trim. So now that I've trimmed that part, it's done. But also what I can do is, instead of seeing my timeline, I can also see the clip in its entirety. So now what I'm going to do for that instance, I'm going to go to view, my view button, and there's show clips, so just Command E for my shortcut. So I'm just going to hold down Command, press E, and it shows me my clip similar to what it does in the trimming, but this time around it doesn't give me the handles. Now I want to bring in the other clips that I had, okay, that I had exported to my desktop. So now I'm just going to go to my desktop quickly, to that folder. There we go. I'm going to select the clips that I've imported earlier. I'm just going to drag it in. Now you guys would notice as soon as I drag it in, you would see at the bottom, it actually highlights those clips there. So it shows it there at the bottom. So I just drop it in. There are all the clips. Now, what's so cool about this is that I can actually rearrange the clip. So I want to move that clip to the end. And this one I'm going to keep there. I'm going to move this one till there. Okay, so I can also do that. Now, if I look at some of these clips, like, because remember earlier on I said we want to start with the orientation to make it into a landscape. So you would notice that my second clip, if I just move my timeline across, you would notice that it's lying on its side because this was actually taken on portrait format, but now it's coming in as landscape, so it's on its side. Not a problem. In QuickTime, I can just go to Edit, rotate my clip. I say rotate left. There we go. So now that one is fixed. Okay. So we can also rotate our clips and so on. So now it's nicely playing. You would notice that there's a couple of sections where so I can actually do the trimming with this one as well. Now, if I want to trim it, I only want to work on that clip. If I double click on that clip, you will see it will only focus on that clip. So now I can take my handle and drag it to that, or I can use my player to say, okay, it must be till there. Then all I do is, again, show my out point, hit the O key, and there my handle moves to my out point, and I say trim. So now I've trimmed that clip down as well. Now, I've shown you guys about the trimming side of things and how we can put in different clips, how we can rotate it, move it across, and so on. But if I go now further into my clip, I would notice that, you know, sometimes when you're sitting with your phone and you're like taking a portrait video, and all of a sudden you decide, you know what, I actually want to switch, I want to turn my phone to do it in landscape. So I've done that in this video clip here. There's this big tower and I turned my phone, it didn't come out nice and so on. Now, this is not a train smash at all, because in QuickTime we can also do the split clip. So I'm going to go to this clip and I'm going to move my playhead, and I can maybe play it through right to the point where I'm turning my camera. Okay. Or it was, I think it was sooner than that. Maybe it's, if I started from the beginning. There we go. So from that point, or let me say from this point, I want to do my split, right? So now there I'm going to do my split. So I'm going to go to my edit button, and there you can see the split clip. So where my playhead is, I can do a split clip, or just use a shortcut Command and Y. So if I do split clip, they now split that clip, and now it shows me the clip right side up, but this one is now turned around. Now, as I done with the previous clip, I can select this one, go to my edit button, and rotate left. There we go. So now this one is now right side up. Okay. So now that now I've split my clip, you would notice that this tower isn't actually showing, it's not actually showing the full-on tower. And what happened is, if you've taken a clip and you've brought it in to a landscape format, and it was taken a portrait, then it would, because it stretches it out, so it will cut off certain parts. But it doesn't actually cut it off, it gives you different options. And this is what you can access within QuickTime. So what you can do is you can go to the edit button, and you will notice that there is the clip alignment, right? So it says the center. I can clip align it to the bottom, which will then show the people in that same clip. Or I can go to edit again, clip alignment, and show the top, which will show the top of the tower. So it's the top of the tower, the center, or the bottom, where it shows the people. So I would like to emphasize on maybe let's go with the people, because there I'm already showing the tower. So now in here, I'm gonna go edit, clip alignment, and bottom, all right? So now I've got my bottom sorted out. I've got my clip turned right side up. And you can see there's that little piece there, not a problem where it's turning. Okay, that's not a problem, because now if I double click on that clip, I can again go, that's the point that I wanted. And you can see that I've actually started it. I've moved my player there. Even when I double click on that clip, my player still stays there. So there, double click, hit the I key. Perfect. So done with that one. So now I've got everything where it's supposed to be, right? And now I can just click on done. And now I can preview my clip if I want to, right? And now if I'm happy with how everything is, I can now go to my file and export. So now I can export my clip as a 1080p, 720p, 480p, or even just my audio. So I'm just gonna go with, just keep it as, I'm just gonna export it as a 720p to do it as quickly as possible. So yeah, I can just go to save it, and I'm gonna save it in the same folder as my desktop, right? There we go, and save. And here it will show me the export progress. I can also, under my window button, I can also say hide the export progress. So for now, I'm just gonna keep it open now to see how quickly it exports. And as you can see, I mean, this is just about a, let me see the time. It's about almost a 3-minute long movie, right? Or it is maybe a 3-minute long movie. And the export is going pretty quick for that. After we exported it, you can actually see the progress on this side as well. So now if it's finished, we are now able to view the whole clip as it is, right? We can share it and so on as well. We are able to even share it straight from our Quicktime Player if need be. Anyway, guys, that is how we can bring clips out of photos into QuickTime, split it, use certain tools in QuickTime as well, and just export it or just share it straight out of QuickTime. So, guys, it's open to questions, and that's over to you guys.
Could I ask one, please?
Sure, go for it, Sally.
In terms of an acceptable size to share a clip on, does that, once you've finished working with it, is it available to share in an acceptable size in an email or something?
Well, by standard, an email shouldn't go larger than 10 megs, right?
Okay.
If we look at this clip, that was actually one of the things I wanted to look at. If we look at this clip, the size on this clip was, if I go to my info, this is about 276 megs, right? However, you've got what they call mail drop, right? We're gonna look at mail drop in a later session for much larger files. So even if a file like this is that size, you are still able to share it. Besides that, you also remember we've done the folder sharing. And now I think it was our first couple of sessions in our first week, we did the folder sharing where you can actually add files to a folder and share it with another person. So that's also another option you can use. So guys, that's a very good question that Shelley actually asked. The one thing is you can share it with a shared folder, or what we're going to be covering at a later stage called mail drop, where you can actually email that clip, and what it will do is it will send a link where somebody can actually download it.
Thanks very much.
Sure.
Angela?
Yeah, Michael.
Thanks, man. Thank you. Thanks very much. Enjoyable as usual. And I just want to ask us a really stupid question.
No question is stupid, eh?
No, I think this one is, but I'm embarrassed to ask it, but nevertheless, here we go. When I do a video, I simply go to camera on my iPhone, I select video, and off I go. So that's what I use. And now, is this QuickTime the same thing? Is this what this is called, or is QuickTime a program that I'm totally, that's different to, that's what it's on my iPhone?
QuickTime is a built-in app. It's actually a media player, but it's for me now, it's become a media player on steroids. And so say for instance, because my phone, my iPad, as well as my Mac is synced via iCloud, and I've got an iCloud photo library. So whatever videos I've taken and photos is now synced onto my library. So now say for instance, I want to now make a quick clip, put it together for maybe a presentation or for a friend or just for myself. Then I can, instead of using iMovie, which is an awesome application, but I don't want to go through all the complexity of adding titles and so on. I just want to quickly slap something together. I can use QuickTime for that purpose, which is going to save me a lot on the time and so on.
So it's actually an app that I can download?
It's on your Mac already. It comes built in. Yeah.
Okay.
I just wanted to add to that. QuickTime is actually the architecture that Apple developed in 1991 that allows videos to be played inside a word processing app, inside a presentation app. It's actually the system architecture. And Quicktime Player was a tool that we is a tool that we have to play these things back. But over time, they've added some editing capabilities to it. So all of that architecture is built into your camera and photo app on your iPhone. Just one other thing that you may or may not know, guys, and I know Angelo's covered some of these, but if you're recording video, if you go to your system preferences and choose camera, you'll see that there's a number of settings that relate to your recording of videos. Now, mine is set to, if I record a video, it records at 1080p at 60 frames a second, which is typically your high definition format. But my camera can also go up to 4K. It's 4 times the size of 1080p. But of course, the file size is 4 times larger as well. So if you want really, really high quality of something, you can actually go in and adjust the resolution that it films at on your phone.
By the way, guys, under my export, you would have noticed, maybe I didn't mention this. You saw 1080p, 720p, 480. If you've done your video on your phone under 4K, it will give you that option to export it as well as as 4K.
If you saved it at 1080 and you want to optimize it to a smaller size because you want another version of it in a much smaller size, how do you do that? Do you do it through QuickTime or do you have to use another app for that?
No, you use QuickTime. So you just open that same clip again in QuickTime, export it as a different version. The reason why I use QuickTime a lot, it's because I just quickly want to slap something together. Normally, when it comes down to making things pretty and adding in titles and so on, then I will resort to iMovie. I think we're going to do another session on iMovie pretty soon. So yeah.
Tomorrow.
Oh, there we go. So it actually works hand in hand.
Thank you
All
very
of the
much.
best. Take care.
Angela, thank you.
Sure.
Yes.
Thank you,
Bye.
everybody.
Thank
See you
you,
soon.
thank you.